demanded that the federal government, the federal court, the federal judge, the DOJ, everybody release the warrant. Guess what happened? They obliged. It happened today. We are going to go through this. Remember, in a prior show, we had picked up with Merrick Garland and his conversation about why they conducted the raid, learned very, very little about the actual rationale behind this, but they did communicate that Merrick Garland was the individual who authorized the search warrant, made it possible. He said it all went up to him. He signed on the dotted line, and it happened. And so Donald Trump now was responding to Merrick Garland saying, since Donald Trump made this public, I am now asking the court to unseal the warrant so that America can see it. Now, the ball was kicked over to Donald Trump. They said, wonder what he's going to do. Is he going to object to the motion to unseal filed by the Attorney General? Or is this going to be something that he agrees to? Well, right after the program, we flipped over to True Social, and Donald Trump shared a couple things late last night. And he said, hey, America, says not only will I not oppose the release of the documents related to the un-American, unwarranted, and unnecessary raid and break-in of my home in Palm Beach, Florida, I am going a step further by encouraging the immediate release of those documents, even though they have been drawn up by radical left Democrats and possible future political opponents who have a strong and powerful vested interest in attacking me, much as they have done for the last 6 years. He writes, my poll numbers are the strongest they have ever been. Fundraising by the Republican Party is breaking all records, and midterms elections are fast approaching. This unprecedented political weaponization of law enforcement is inappropriate and highly unethical. The world is watching as our country is being brought to a new low, not only on our border, crime, economy, energy, national security, and so much more, but also with respect to our sacred elections. Release the documents now. And that was something that came out from Donald Trump. And we were sort of waiting, prognosticating, what's he going to do? Is he going to release it or not? And it turns out he said we can go ahead and release those documents. Now, he also told us this. He says that my attorneys and representatives were already cooperating fully and had very good relationships with the FBI and with the National Archives, as we will review. But he said a little bit more. He said, does anybody really believe that Joe Biden and the White House knew nothing about this great embarrassment to our country, the biggest story since Afghanistan? He's talking about Lincoln Project and some other things. But after he said that he doesn't oppose the release of the warrants and those documents, he posted again, release the documents now. He said that. And then he posted another Save America. Now, there was some hint from the former president, from Donald Trump, saying that this was about nuclear materials, that they had all sorts of confidential documents that could never be trusted in the hands of somebody who was entrusted with them for 4 years. You know, something was very dangerous about all of this all of a sudden. And when we were prognosticating about this, one idea was maybe it wasn't necessarily about Trump. Maybe it wasn't necessarily about him. Maybe it was about somebody else in Mar-a-Lago, right? Somebody else could have gotten access to that. And so the FBI just swept in to seize it before, you know, Donald Trump wasn't the problem. He's not even relevant at all, right? This has just had to do with something else. And it just happened to be at Donald Trump's place, right? Some other rationale to justify this, or some other rationale to justify the urgency of this. Okay. You know, maybe like this is a scene out of 24 or Jason Bourne movie. You know, the FBI had to go seize these documents before one of Putin's, you know, intelligence KGB officers seized the nuclear codes and bombed America back into the Stone Age, right? Maybe there's some alternative explanation. What could the documents be? Everybody's on TV all over the place talking about top secret information and all this crap, right? They're all just sort of talking in circles because nobody knows what the basis is of the entire investigation. And we are going to get to the search warrant that came out, but we're not going to see the affidavit or the basis for probable cause or why this was authorized in the first place, because right, this is supposed to be leading to what? Criminal prosecutions. That's why you have warrants in the first place. So Trump is here and he says, all right, America, look, they're all talking about this nuclear weapon stuff. Washington Post released an article and they said, he wrote today, he said, nuclear weapons issue, America, is a hoax, just like Russia was a hoax. 2 impeachment were a hoax, and the Mueller investigation was a hoax, and much more. Same sleazy people involved. Why wouldn't the FBI allow the inspection of areas at Mar-a-Lago with our lawyers or others present? Made them wait outside in the heat. Wouldn't let them even close. Said absolutely not. Planting information, anyone? Question mark? Oh, yeah, and it's not just him, right? It's not like a lot of people will say, oh, it's Donald Trump. He's just a crazy maniac. Yeah, Rand Paul is making that same claim when he was on with Fox and Friends this morning. We'll get there later. Reminds me of a Christopher Steele dossier, which we talked a lot about in the Michael Sussman trial, which was Hillary Clinton's campaign lawyer sitting down, that was Michael Sussman, sitting down with James Baker over from the FBI and facilitating the transfer of information that was created by Perkins Coie through Fusion GPS, which helped conduct and create this entire Steele dossier. Do you see the circles? If you've been here, we've been following this, and Donald Trump just called it. He said, remember this? The Christopher Steele dossier. It all comes full circle. Same people, same sleazy people, he says. He's right. And so he says, Democrats in Congress should strongly vote against the biggest green fake New Deal in history. That's a little bit off topic, but he does say that he's 100% against this, which is true. And he's also talking about Liz Cheney, so I didn't see any of this. But he says President Barack Obama also kept 33 million pages of documents, most of them classified. How many of them pertained to nuclear? Word is lots, he said. Number one, he writes, it was all declassified. Number two, they didn't need to seize anything. They could have had it anytime they wanted without playing politics and breaking into Mar-a-Lago. It was in secured storage with an additional lock put on as per their request. And we went through that document yesterday. We actually read part of the emails, right? Or read an article that had excerpts from the emails that said verbatim, National Archives, can you secure that a little bit? Sure, happy to do it. Receive, we'll do it, no problem. Trump says we obliged. They could have had it any time they wanted, and that includes long ago. All they had to do was ask. The bigger problem is, what are they going to do with the 33 million pages of documents, many of them which are classified, that Obama took to Chicago? And he reposted the Save America video, which if you haven't seen it, it's 3 minutes and 50 seconds. I'd encourage you to go check that out. So Donald Trump, he's saying, look, yeah, we were perfectly willing to cooperate with the FBI, with anybody that needed these documents. And we'll take a look at that right here. In fact, there is some evidence of that because this has already been documented. In fact, many people are talking about this series of email exchanges that occurred between Donald Trump and, as we'll see, the National Archives right here, February 18th, 2022. Okay, like that's not that long ago. Relatively recently. This is over to Carolyn Maloney. She's a U.S. House of Representatives member. And look who this is being written by, the National Archives. Right there, David Ferriero, archivist. And what is happening here, as you can see, House of Representatives sending a letter over to the National Archives complaining about Trump. They sent this letter back on February 9th. It says, okay, Congresswoman, we got your letter. You asked a number of questions about 15 boxes of records that were at Trump's place in Mar-a-Lago. There it is. Congress sends a letter to the archives. We're mad at Trump. We want to make his life miserable. I heard he has some boxes of stuff that he took out of the White House. Hillary has some old shoes in there. She wants them back. Can you figure this out for me? So Congress sends it over to this archivist. Archivist says, let me look into those boxes of Hillary shoes. Okay, I know that they, probably Bill left them over. Says, did NARA ask the representatives if former President Trump about missing records? If so, right, what was provided? NARA, he says, NARA had ongoing communications with representatives of former President Trump throughout 2021, which resulted in the transfer of 15 boxes to NARA in January 2022. Right? So Trump is complying at the moment. Congress says, please provide a description of the contents of the recovered boxes. NARA, they say, well, we're in the process of inventorying the boxes. Records are subject to the Presidential Records Act, and therefore any request for information has got to go through the PRA, the Presidential Records Act. Go figure it out with them. Don't ask me about it. Are the contents, Congress says, are the contents of the boxes recovered by NARA, are they undergoing a review to determine if they contain classified information? And they say, yeah, NARA has identified items marked as classified national security information within the boxes. Yeah, there's national. He was the president. You understand that, right? Is NARA aware of any additional presidential records from the Trump administration that may or may not be missing in NARA's possession? They say, yeah, some social media records. NARA has learned that they've conducted official business while using non-official electronic messaging accounts that were not copied, right? Same crap you'd hear about in any administration. Nobody raided Hillary Clinton over this. Nobody raided Barack Obama over this. What efforts has been taken to recover these things? NARA has asked the representatives of former President Trump to continue to search as required. And they talk about Trump tearing up some documents, but they're, you know, it's all back and forth. They ask for letters. Trump gives them 15 boxes. Congress is writing them about this. What? Oh, we need 15 boxes of material. We need answers about those. And they say, well, we had questions about him too. In fact, we sent a letter over to Donald Trump about him, and he sent us the boxes. Great. All right. So I guess that means we should raid him or something. Now, there's a lot going on. The Judicial Watch then took a note of that, and they actually submitted this. This was kind of funny. I think I pulled this up here. So, yeah, Judicial Watch sent in this document. They've just filed this on 8/12, which is today. They said, Judge, did you see Donald Trump on True Social? He's got a banger of an account over there. Check it out, Exhibit A. And they also posted this sort of the official press release from Donald Trump, which is the statement that we just read. Right? So this is the formal filing. Judicial Watch flies right out of the gates, and they just say, all right, well, says he is now openly admitting that this is, or openly acknowledging that he's okay disclosing these warrants. Signs off on it, release the documents now. Judicial Watch files that. So then it goes over to the judge, and the judge comes out and he says, all right, well, I mean, if Trump wants it out on 8/12, judge turns around. In the case of the sealed search warrant, Judge Reinhart comes out and he says, all right, well, we've got the order to unseal here now. Get ready, America. The United States moves to unseal the search and seizure warrant, including attachments A and B and the redacted versions of the inventory of seized items. And you go, wait a minute. There's no affidavit in there. Where is the affidavit? And the court writes, well, having reviewed the motion and being otherwise fully advised, it is ordered that the motion is granted. Documents will be released. The clerk of the court shall unseal docket entry 17 forthwith, done and ordered in chambers by Judge Bruce Reinhart, United States Magistrate Judge. And so, my goodness, right? That's, well, okay, well, that happened pretty quickly. And you don't see that a whole lot, where there's quick activity. And we'll continue on with that in one quick minute as soon as I turn on subscriber-only mode, because I think we have a lot of activity in the house. Shout out to everybody in the house. But it looks like, or maybe slow-mo. Maybe we'll do something like that. All right, so because we just give the mods a little bit of a break. Yeah, so slow mode there. All right, and so, all right, so we're going back now to the mind map, and let's see. Okay. Back to the mind map, here we are. Now, we just took a look at the order to unseal, and the judge then released the warrant, and the warrant came out, and we're going to unpack this one a little bit more closely so that we can really spend our time on it. So here it is. Coming out of the United States District Court, this is the search and seizure warrant for Trump's residence in Mar-a-Lago in Florida. And as you can see, it just briefly describes the premises, okay, where the search and where the seizure is supposed to be taking place. The case is listed here. And until this time, right, when all of this was being filed and drafted, nobody knew anything about this, right? Everybody was sort of, Trump didn't even know about it until that morning. A lot of people were surprised by this other than Joe Biden and the Biden administration. And it says, to any authorized law enforcement officer, it looks like a pretty standard search and seizure warrant here. It is written clearly. It's just a form, right? It's not even something that's independently drafted. It's a form you just print off of a website. It says, an application by a federal law enforcement officer or an attorney for the government requests the search out of the Southern District of Florida, see attachment A. We'll take a look at it. I find that the affidavits coming from the court or recorded testimony establishes probable cause to search and seize, right? So probable cause for what? It's just a form document. It's nothing special here. It's just a form. Probable cause for what? A crime is why you fill this stuff out. It's to go investigate something. See attachment B. You are commanded to execute this warrant on or before August 19th. They, of course, have done that in the daytime, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Unless otherwise, notice is authorized. Give a copy of the warrant and a receipt at the residence, right? And there's a lot of debate about this. Okay, a lot of the lefties are coming out and saying that Donald Trump and his people, his lawyers, say that they never got a copy of the warrant. Merrick Garland came out yesterday, and he said specifically that they did leave a copy of the warrant. And so we've already unpacked this issue, right? If they're calling the warrant, or let's say the cover sheet the warrant, or maybe they're just leaving this front page, right? Maybe they're just leaving this front page, and they say, his lawyers say, that's not the full warrant. I want the affidavit. I want the statement of justification. Where's the probable cause basis for all of this? I want the full thing. I want the application. I want the affidavit. I want every bit of it. And if you don't give me every bit of it, well, then I don't think that I got the warrant, right? So it's two people talking sort of in circles around each other. They say, we gave you the warrant. They hand you a sheet of paper. You say, I don't know what you think this is, but this is not the warrant that I'm looking for. I want all of it. I want the full thing. So people are going to be beating themselves up over this today. And it's just not really, it's not really that productive. Until we know what this is about, all of this is just, it's technical review. What are they doing? What is the White House doing? Are they prosecuting the former president, Donald Trump? Are they prosecuting him, charging him with a crime? Yes or no? Because if they went in and seized all of these boxes, all of these documents, there must be a next thing that happens, right? They seized it to prosecute him. Now it's time to communicate that to us. Or are they just like done? It's just like, okay, the library books got returned now, so we'll just waive your overdue balances, Trump. No, right? They want to do something with this. Isn't it supposed to be consequential? Why would they do something entirely unprecedented if it's just kind of like paying a traffic ticket? Well, we got our books back. I told you if we let you borrow those, you're going to have to return them. And if you don't return them, I'm going to come get them. So it says here, unless delayed or otherwise noted, right? The rest of this is all just pretty much boilerplate. Like I said, it's a form document signed off on by the judge, Judge Reinhart. And then we get a little bit more information. The inventory is all sort of left blank here. As we get down a little bit further, this is a blank form, but we go down to the attachments because they're referencing the attachments. It says, all right, here's what we're talking about. The premises to be searched, Mar-a-Lago, is further described as a resort, a club, a residence located near the intersection of Southern Boulevard and Ocean Boulevard. It's a mansion. Of course it is. It's got 58 bedrooms, 33 bathrooms. It's on a 17-acre estate. Location is including 45 office. You see that there. Wonder what that is. I wonder who that belongs to. All storage rooms and all other rooms or areas within the premises used or available to be used by the F. POTUS, so their former president of the United States, and his staff, in which boxes or documents could be stored, right? That's a really broad envelope. In the law, we talk a lot about hula hoops and about scope and about, how far your searches can extend or how far your arguments can go or where your evidence is included, but then it's cut off. Pretty broad. All storage room and all other rooms or areas within the premises that were actually used or available to be used. Okay, so it just gets broader and broader and broader. All storage rooms, like all closets. Okay, all closets, got it. And anything else that's kind of like a closet also. And also any area that's not even a closet, could be an area that is used or potentially used to just store something in it. Or if it's just used or available to be used, where they could store boxes, right? So it's like, I don't know, I'm in my recording studio here and I've got boxes all over the place. I'm storing boxes, I guess, including all structures or buildings on the estate. It does not include areas currently at the time of the search being occupied, rented, or used by third parties, such as Mar-a-Lago members, or not otherwise used or available to be used by the former president of the United States, such as private guest suites, right? So making a clear distinction, Trump stuff, not guest stuff, all right? Well, that sounds pretty broad. And the property to be seized. So we've got the area to be searched in attachment A, and the property to be seized. Let's see what we've got. So it is all physical documents and records constituting evidence, contraband, fruits of crime, or other illegally possessed items in violation of U.S. code, including the following. Any physical documents with classification markings, along with any containers, boxes, including any other contents in which such documents are located, that are collectively stored or found together as containers or boxes. Ugh, don't you hate how painful this stuff is to read? Okay, boxes of stuff. Got it. Synthesize that. Boxes of stuff. B, information, including communications in any form about the retrieval of national defense information or classified material. So that's going to be, right, any type of conversation. So I guess that could include in any form, whether it's a hard drive, something technical, something paper, like burned into hard media, CDs and stuff like that. Any government or presidential records created between January 2017 and January 2021. Right? And now you start asking yourselves, you start to say, man, this is really, really broad. And they're talking, fruits of crime, evidence of a crime, illegal possession, meaning this is all criminality that they're talking about, right? This is evidence of crimes. So they think that they can just sit quiet and just say, well, we're investigating him. We can't talk about ongoing investigations because we're the Justice Department and we have, ethical obligations to follow and so on and so forth. Like that excuse is not going to fly. They may get away with that with Hunter Biden, but this is somebody else who's running for president and has a very likely chance of winning. Search warrant continues. It says that they can also seize any evidence of the knowing alteration, destruction, concealment of any governmental or presidential records or of any documents with classification markings. Very, very broad. So not a lot of details there, as we expected, right? If this did involve national security implications, it would be obvious that they would either redact these things out or Merrick Garland would know that there's just not enough there to sort of be a threat to national security. You just describe the boxes, as we'll see they did. So this is the receipt for the property. And right, this may have been what they handed Trump's lawyers too. You just don't know, right? Papers are flying around. I can't tell you how many clients have come to our office in Scottsdale and, will come in and they'll just, I don't know what the heck happened, right? It's a whirlwind. I have this piece of paper over here. This piece of paper is crumbled up over there, right? The whole thing is just madness because especially if you're Donald Trump or his people, you're not expecting the FBI to show up on your front door at 4 a.m. in the morning and raid your private residence when you are a former president. It's not typical, but they did. And so, like I said, there's a lot of confusion. Trump's people may have said, we didn't get it. Merrick Garland says, we got it. I don't know who you believe. I know who I believe based on the prior course of history that has been conducted from the FBI. We've followed it a lot. Receipt for property. Name, Mar-a-Lago. We know where it is, 1100 South Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida, 33480. A description of the item. An executive grant of clemency regarding Roger Jason Stone Jr. I don't know about you, but I'm happy that the FBI has that back in their custody. I was really nervous that that would get out into the wrong hands, but they've got it back. Info about the president of France. I don't know what that is. Leather-bound box of documents. Okay. We've got 2A, various classified, top secret security documents. Potential presidential records we have. 2 binders of photos. And then we've just got a bunch of boxes. Now let's sort of batch these things together. So we've got a handwritten note. Don't know what that is, right? And I've got so many issues with this stuff. It's like, what about executive privilege? What about attorney-client privilege? What about all sorts of other privilege that exists? What did he handwrite on that note? You have a bunch of disgusting FBI agents just rummaging through the president's stuff. Just flipping through papers and envelopes and reading in. And what's this one? Not relevant. What's this one? Not relevant. What's this one? Oh, it's relevant. It's a handwritten note. It's about national security, so we're going to put it in there. And as we talked about yesterday, there's nothing more disgusting than anybody rummaging through your personal private property. It doesn't matter if you're the president. It doesn't matter if it's your car. It doesn't matter if it's your locker in high school. Somebody rummaging through your stuff is a horrendous thing. And they're looking through his notes, looking through binders of photos, boxes labeled A through 1, box labeled A through 12, or A12, right? It could just be a sort of a label. We have A15. We've got 3 boxes right here, items 10, 11A, and 13A, which are miscellaneous secret documents, which have all been seized by the FBI. And then we've got boxes A16, A17, and A18, along with A27, box 14A, miscellaneous confidential documents. So just don't even know what's in there, but a lot of boxes. Same on page 2, same type of thing. So you can see, right, even less distinction between what was seized. Basically, everything on here is labeled A28 through 30, 32, 35, 23, 22, 24. You can see it. I don't need to name them all. We'll sort of go crazy here. But then there's boxes, miscellaneous confidential documents, so just confidential. And then we've got miscellaneous top secret documents. Now, there's a little signature here, or a little, I don't know what that is. Oh, looks like there was a little typo on the search warrant. You see that there? Let's go ahead and erase this most recent circle just so we can see this little typo here. This is, yeah, taupe secret. Looks like one of the FBI agents got a little carried away on the miscellaneous taupe secrets. Yeah, there it is. You can see that, right? Yeah. And so one of the FBI agents, you know, who is really covering all of their bases to make sure that the raid of the president's house was conducted appropriately, forgot to double check. Now, a spell checker wouldn't catch that, right? Is that that's the word taupe, like a color? Miscellaneous taupe secret documents. It's probably very beautiful, nice color, nice peaceful color. It's beautiful, very relaxing. National security secrets. 28A. Now, all of this was received, you can see here, by Christina Bobb. And so Christina Bobb, the attorney, is the printed name. And we heard from her saying, I didn't get a copy of the search warrant. I never got a copy of that at all. And so maybe that's exactly true, right? Maybe she never did get a copy of the search warrant because this is what she got. This is what the copy that she signed. She actually got the receipt for property. And some FBI agent sent that in and said it was the warrant. Everybody's screaming at me in the chat. It's taupe, T-A-U-P-E. I don't care. T-A-U-P-E doesn't fit the narrative that I was trying to craft. It's not as funny, right? If taupe is in the search warrant, it's funnier that way. All right, but that's it. We're at the bottom of the document. Okay, we're at the bottom of this whole thing here. There's nothing else in there. That's the warrant. Much ado about nothing, as we said, right? And if it's a bunch of confidential documents, that's it. Well, unless they tell us more, what are those documents for? What do they want to do with them? Where are those documents going? Well, we don't really know. Now, let's take a final look at the actual court docket that has been detailed out for us. I want to show you there's just been a ton of activity. And let's change this around just a little bit. So we have the most recent on top. Okay, this is the actual case from the search warrant. This is the one that's taking place out of the Southern District of Florida. It is most recently updated today, August 12th. And this is the judge. It's Bruce Reinhart, who is here. And notice, right, a lot of activity here today. And let's just scroll back. The last time we had an update was on August 12th. So look, we're still going all the way down. We've got to work our way up. All right. So as of yesterday, when we had our update, we noticed that there were many people trying to get into this case, including the New York Times. You see the New York Times is here. We had, previous to that, Judicial Watch was filing to get on the case. And there was just sort of a big additional list of people who all filed. So the clerk issued some things. And then today, this morning, you can see right here on August 12th, that was the order granting the motion to unseal. We got that. We already read through all of that. We also have notice by a company called EW Scripps Company who joined the case. We have the Florida Center of Government Accountability is who that association is. And they have a notice of appearance from their lawyer. So some other company filed a notice of appearance. Dow Jones and Company, they filed a notice of appearance. Their lawyer hopped on the case. That's EW Scripps Company. Judicial Watch filed that motion or that notice of Trump's statement that we talked about. Wall Street Journal looks like is trying to get on along with the Associated Press, or all of these things are all sort of being consolidated. Miami Herald wants to get on. Tampa Bay Times wants to be on here. And the list just goes on and on. Here's the Associated Press. They wanted the search warrant unsealed, so they've got that. CBS Broadcasting is in the house. EW Scripps talked about them. Times Publishing Company, right? Everybody wants in on this case. They know that Donald Trump captures those eyeballs. So they're all getting on the case. Here's CBS again. We've got EW Scripps. A lot of motions from them. Here's CBS News, Washington Post, CNN's, NBC News. They're all filing. Palm Beach Post as well. And we talked about this on our morning walk and talk for members that, this is how Trump wins. Every time they make him the center of attention, every time they try to turn him into a clown, he turns them into fools. And it is happening all over again. They don't even realize what they're doing. So this is the latest. We've got orders from additional people appearing pro hoc vice. Lawyers are skidding their cars into this case to try to get on here for all of the different media companies, from all of the different interested parties. And as we said previously, it does seem like the Democrats have bitten off a bit more than they can chew. Donald Trump demanded the search warrant be unsealed. And guess what? It was. Who's really in charge these days, huh? That's Donald Trump. And the demand of the search warrant being unsealed, search warrant unsealed, not a lot of that information there, but it's only the start, right? This is the opening of Pandora's box, and we will continue to follow this wherever it may lead.